Let's get right to it, man. This last night, we saw Jon Gruden and the Oakland Raiders. First thing that jumped to my mind is the nerve of that man in this post-game conversation. Well, we didn't have a pass rush. Well, duh! What the hell did you think you would have without Khalil Mack? What were your thoughts about what you saw from the Oakland Raiders against the Los Angeles Rams last night?
He was right. They didn't have a pass rush. We did see Bruce Irvin make a nice play with a sack fumble.
He did.
But we knew Bruce Irvin could play, but he was the other guy, right? Khalil Mack was the guy. When you talked about the rush ends for Oakland, Bruce Irvin wasn't the first name that you brought up. And now he has to become your lead dog. And he's not ready for that. He's not that type of talent. And you watch Khalil Mack in the first half against Green Bay for the Chicago Bears, totally changed the game. One, he got the pressure that made Aaron Rodgers step up into the pocket and injure himself. He was also the guy that had the strip fumble in the red zone for the Chicago Bears, gets the interception, scores a touchdown. That type of playmaking ability you don't just find in anyone. That's not a guy you just replace. And so that is huge when you talk about this team. What was even more profound to me, Stephen A., was his interview with Lisa Salters.
Okay.
And you referenced it earlier. He's talking about Khalil Mack as if holding out isn't a part of business, right? Clearly, this guy doesn't want to be on this team. And you make mention that many times he talked about as an analyst, players winning games. This being
a players' league.
This being a players' league.
That's right.
I think when he got the $100 million contract, when he got the 10 years guaranteed, he forgot that. He got to a point that their perception of me is that I am a player. Their perception of me is that I am so big to an organization that I should be paid like a starting franchise quarterback. So Khalil Mack owes me something. Khalil Mack should call me and want to be on my team.
Right.
When you don't reach out to a team leader, to a team captain,
an all-pro,
a defensive player of the year,
and an all-pro at 2 different positions,
that's on you. And the fact that this team doesn't have a pass rush has more to do with your arrogance, with your decision to make this about you and not the Oakland Raiders. If Khalil Mack leaves, if Khalil Mack doesn't want to get a deal done, you can then go in your locker room and say, guys, I understood how much he meant to the team. I understood how much he meant to you. I did everything I could to get him to be there.
Right.
So Derek Carr doesn't tweet what he tweets after Khalil Mack's gone. Bruce Irvin doesn't tweet expletives when he reads Khalil Mack have been traded, because they know you've done everything you possibly could to keep the best player on your team. And he didn't do that, and we saw his absence show up big for the Oakland Raiders and their pressure, but also what he can do when on the field for the Chicago Bears.
I couldn't agree with you more. I've been saying that for the longest time. We're talking to Ryan Clark right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. The other thing is this. Jon Gruden, defense ain't his thing. It's supposed to be offense. I didn't see an impressive offense last night.
No.
I saw Amari Cooper get targeted 3 times. Everybody talking about Amari Cooper like the brother can't play. He had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons before last year. Had a concussion in week 13. Had the high ankle sprain in week 15. So clearly didn't have
He's a player,
but he can play. Targeted 3 times, and then Derek Carr. Everything that Gruden said, this franchise goes where he takes us. Everything we do around here is about him. He got his $125 million. I haven't seen him play well since. Your thoughts about what you saw from them offensively?
Yeah, I thought so. Many teams script the first 10 or 15 plays, and I thought they did very well. And that's when we saw Marshawn Lynch score a touchdown. Jared Cook makes a big play on the blitz.
Got it.
After that, when it was time for Jon Gruden to start making the decisions, to start feeling the game of football again, I don't think he did a good job of it. And I know Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib are out there on the outside, but when you have Amari Cooper, when you have Jordy Nelson, you have to test these guys. Yeah. Even though they are playmakers, they give up plays trying to make plays for themselves.
Especially when Derek Carr raves about how he can't understand how Green Bay let go of Jordy Nelson because he still is one of the fastest guys in the league.
And so when you see those things, but they're both targeted 3 and 4 times, and Jared Cook is targeted 12, it shows you that they're not trying to push the ball down the field. They're not trying to make plays. His focus was, we're not going to make mistakes. And I think by doing that, you take away what's supposed to be Derek Carr's strength, which is arm strength, which is accuracy down the field. When you don't take these shots, when you don't back these people up off of your receivers, you're not going to be able to move the ball. And then you're stuck with splitting Jared Cook out on Johnson III, who gets an interception in the red zone. And then you underthrow a ball to Jordy Nelson in the flat and is picked off by a linebacker. And you finish off the game by throwing a crossing route to Jared Cook when matched up against Marcus Peters. Yeah. There's nowhere where that matchup is in your favor. And so for me, Jon Gruden, when I played with Joe Gibbs in Washington, he was away from the game longer than Jon Gruden was, but he had to catch up, right? As great of a football mind and Hall of Famer as Joe Gibbs was, he had to catch up to the game at the present time.
But he also knew he had to catch up.
He also knew he had to catch up. And I think that's where Jon Gruden is now, accepting, and he said it was on him, accepting that there are things he needs to learn about today's football, about a more spread out game, about a quicker, faster game, a game where the defensive linemen look and play like Aaron Donald. If he can do those things, I think this team has a chance to be better, but they don't compete to be a playoff team this year. And when I give you $100 million guaranteed, I'm looking for not only a positive progression as a football team, I'm looking for wins. And I don't think this team find ways to get enough to be in the playoff hunt.
Ryan Clark right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Real quick, Los Angeles Rams, you think they're the best team in football? You think they'll win the Super Bowl?
They're going to win it all from LA. Even though you don't think, a team from LA can win it, they're the best team.
Chilling in the Southern California sunshine, living the life.
It never rains in Southern California.
That's right. Don't sing. Don't do that, Tony.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Don't you dare do that.